I wish I knew how challenging it is and how ruthless it is. That's the perfect, that's my honest answer. I didn't realise how ruthless it can be, and I had to learn how to navigate some of the challenges and the ruthlessness of the environment, but I'm still here.
I wish I'd had a crystal ball and that I could see what I've managed to achieve throughout the whole term that I've been elected. I think I personally suffer from imposter syndrome. I know that many women in politics do as well, and I think when I was first elected I just didn't see myself as being able to be a councillor and to achieve some really good things while being a councillor as well. I certainly lacked confidence, so I guess I just wish that I could have seen that. And I think the other thing that I wish that I knew when I was first elected was about the support network that was available, not just within my own party but across all the parties. And I've made some incredible friends as councillors and council officials that have really helped and supported me. So I certainly wish that I had known that right at the beginning. And I think the last thing that I wish that I had known was that I just wouldn't know everything on the first day, straight after you're elected. I think there's this kind of train of thought that you can immediately just kick off and start running. There's a lot of things to learn about being elected, and it does take you a while to get running. So I think it's important to not put too much pressure on yourself and just kind of relax into the role.
What surprised me about being a female representative is how pale, male and stale it is. The lack of female, the lack of diversity in the decision-making process. It's been a real shock to me.
I think the thing that surprised me most about being a councillor is just how important councils are, just how important local democracies are. And I really wish that this was something that had you know, more of a national profile. I mean, councils, yeah, of course deal with, you know, bins and all the other things like that. But in terms of health and social care and education and planning and violence against women and girls and all the other really important things that councils do that we never really hear about. The biggest highlight for me definitely has to be being the first council in Scotland to introduce family leave for councillors, so maternity and paternity leave for councillors. I'm sure that anybody watching this will probably be quite surprised to find that certainly when I was elected there was no such thing as maternity leave. And of course, just after the election I found myself in the situation of being pregnant, and in fact when I was 8 months pregnant found myself in a council chamber arguing for just even a day off to give birth would have been nice. And that was a real barrier in terms of getting women and men of kind of that age to come forward and be council candidates and think about themselves like that, because it just is such a basic human right to be able to have that time to bond as a family and to bond with your baby. And I don't think that there's any other type of employment out there where we would think that that wouldn't be the right thing to do. So I was really proud to do that, and that launched a national campaign, and I think to date most councils have adopted that policy, and I hope that because of that we'll see more younger councillors, more women councillors coming forward for the next election.
There's been quite a lot. Sometimes it can be real simple things when someone contacts you and maybe there's been what seems to be very simple and very easy to resolve, like a bin that's maybe not been cleared for months and it's causing a lot of stress. And when the resident comes back to you and says, oh, thank you very much, that's made such a difference in my life, that was causing so much stress, it was actually impacting my mental health. And it can be some massive things as well that take years sometimes to achieve. So for example, an area that I represent in Govan Hill, there was years ago, and still to some extent, are challenges around the lack of social housing in the area. So in 2012 when I was elected, there was an imbalance in the social housing in the area. There was more private lets compared to social housing. So community was contacting me and saying, there's an absent landlord, there's no factoring, there's building going into disrepair, a lot of stress, a lot of concerns that have been raised. So what we came up with was the Govan Hill Acquisition Programme. So that was a programme between Glasgow City Council and the Scottish Government, which was a multi-million programme that's been documented nationally, and it brings private lets to a housing tolerable standard. And if that housing tolerable standard is not achieved, then the local housing association acquires that property and brings it into social let, and that has made an impact on the area.